My name is Ava Morgan, and on the day I was supposed to marry the love of my life, he disappeared, only to reappear months later, standing at the altar with my sister. Everyone thought I'd moved on. Everyone thought I'd stayed silent. But they were wrong. Because on their wedding day, I walked through those church doors with the one secret that would shatter their perfect world in front of everyone they loved. Tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful revenge stories every week. When Ethan proposed to me under the old oak tree near the lake, it felt like the universe had finally chosen to be kind. He was the kind of man people called steady, dependable, ambitious, endlessly charming. And for 3 years, he made me believe I was his forever. We planned everything together: the house we'd buy, the wedding colors, even the names of our future children. My sister Lily was the first person I called after the proposal. She screamed with joy, cried, and hugged me so tight it almost hurt. "You deserve this," she told me. "You've always been the good one." At that moment, I didn't know those words would come back to haunt me. Lily was everything I wasn't: wild, spontaneous, a free spirit who turned heads without trying. Growing up, I was the planner, the fixer, the one who stayed behind cleaning up the chaos she left. But I didn't mind. She was my sister. I loved her more than anyone. As the wedding preparations began, Lily offered to help. Dress fittings, venue scouting, invitations. She became my right hand, my emotional support. And every time Ethan smiled at her jokes or asked for her opinion, I reminded myself they were just comfortable, like family. But then, little things began to shift. One evening, I was running late from work when I got a text from Lily. "Oh, don't worry, I already met Ethan at the caterer's. We picked the dessert flavors. You'll love them." At first, I smiled. It felt sweet, helpful. But when I arrived, I found them laughing together, sharing inside jokes I didn't understand. Ethan barely noticed I was there. Later that night, when I teased him, half joking, one about how close he and Lily had gotten, he laughed it off. "You're imagining things, Ava. She's just easy to talk to. You should be happy your fiancé and your sister get along so well." And I believed him. Because that's what love does. It blinds you, even when the truth is standing right in front of you. Weeks turned into months. My dress was ready, the venue booked, and invitations sent. Everything was perfect, until it wasn't. 3 days before our wedding, Ethan stopped answering his phone. His last message was a short one. "We need to talk." I waited the whole night pacing my apartment, my stomach in knots, but he never came. The next morning, his mother called. Her voice was cold and careful. "Ava, I think it's best if you don't come looking for him. He's confused, but he'll sort it out." Confused? About what? About us? I called Lily, desperate for comfort. She didn't answer either. Hours later, I drove to her apartment, but she wasn't there. Her neighbor said she'd left early that morning, with a man driving Ethan's car. My world tilted. The air left my lungs. I remember gripping the steering wheel so hard that my hands went numb. For days, I didn't sleep. My phone stayed silent. No apology, no explanation, nothing. It wasn't until a week later that the truth came in the cruelest way possible: a Facebook post. A photo of Ethan and Lily on a beach. Her caption read, "Sometimes love finds you where you least expect it." Thousands of likes, hundreds of comments, and not a single word to me. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. I just sat there staring at the screen, the ring still on my finger, as tears blurred my vision. For months, I stayed away from everyone. I deleted social media, quit my job, and tried to vanish from the world that had watched me crumble. People whispered, some pitied me, others found it scandalous, but no one knew the depth of that betrayal. Then, one morning, I received an envelope. No return address, just my name written in Lily's handwriting. Inside was a wedding invitation. "Lily Carter, Ethan James, we joyfully invite you to celebrate our union." The date, exactly 1 year after Ethan left me. The location, the same venue Ethan and I had booked for our wedding. It was almost poetic. If betrayal could be art, this was their masterpiece. I remember staring at that invitation for hours, my pulse calm and steady. I wasn't angry anymore. I was beyond that. What I felt was clarity. A chilling, razor-sharp stillness that whispered, "It's time." For the next few weeks, I watched quietly. I followed their plans online, Lily's dress fittings, their engagement photos, their glowing smiles. Every post was a dagger, but I didn't flinch. I was already building my revenge. I knew Ethan had a secret, something Lily didn't know, something that could destroy them both. Months before our breakup, Ethan had begged me for a temporary loan to cover a business investment. Naive and in love, I'd agreed, transferring $50,000 from my personal savings into his account. The money vanished. So did his promises. When he left, I assumed I'd never see it again. But while he was busy planning his new fairy tale, I was busy gathering evidence: bank transfers, text messages, voice recordings. I even found out that he'd used part of my money to pay for the wedding ring he gave her. Every betrayal documented. Every lie recorded. I wasn't going to expose him out of anger. I was going to expose him out of truth, at the very place where he thought he'd erased me from his story. So, on the morning of their wedding, I dressed carefully. Black satin dress, elegant heels, hair pinned up. I looked calm, collected, untouchable. I carried a small clutch inside of which was a USB drive, and justice. As I stood outside the grand church, I could hear the faint echo of the wedding march inside. Laughter, whispers, music. The world that had forgotten me was about to remember. The church doors opened slightly, and I caught a glimpse of them standing together. My sister radiant in white, Ethan smiling like a man who thought he'd won. I took a deep breath and whispered to myself, "Let the truth walk in." And with that, I pushed open the doors. The church fell silent the moment I stepped in. The organ music faltered mid-note, and every head turned in unison toward the doors. I didn't rush. I let the echo of my heels strike the marble floor like a drumbeat. Whispers rippled through the guests, confusion, curiosity, then recognition. Some faces I hadn't seen since my engagement party, the same people who toasted to Ethan and Ava, the perfect couple. I walked straight down the aisle. Lily's smile froze, her bouquet trembling in her hands. Ethan's face drained of color. I stopped halfway and said softly, "Please don't stop the ceremony because of me. I just have something to return." The priest looked bewildered. "Miss, this isn't—" "It'll only take a minute," I said, voice calm but cutting. From my clutch, I pulled out a small velvet box, the same one Ethan had used when he proposed under that oak tree. I opened it, revealing the engagement ring he'd once slipped on my finger. "You forgot this," I said, and my voice carried through the cathedral like a blade through glass. Gasps spread through the pews. Someone whispered my name. The silence turned electric. Ethan took a step forward. "Ava, please, not here." I smiled faintly. "Why not here?" "This is where lies come dressed as love." Lily's voice trembled. "You need to leave." "Oh, I will," I said, "right after I show everyone what kind of man you're marrying." I reached into my clutch again and pulled out the USB drive. "You see," I continued, turning toward the guests, "a year ago, I gave Ethan $50,000 for a business investment. He said it was for our future, but our future never happened, did it?" Murmurs filled the air. Ethan's best man looked down, uncomfortable. I handed the USB to the wedding videographer standing near the aisle. "Mind plugging this into your projector?" I asked sweetly. After all, every wedding deserves a slideshow. He hesitated, but seeing the determination in my eyes, obeyed. The screen behind the altar flickered to life. The first image appeared, a screenshot of the bank transfer I'd made to Ethan's account, labeled business investment. The next, text messages, his name at the top. "Ethan, don't worry, babe, I'll pay you back before the wedding." Me, "Promise?" Ethan, "Always." Lily turned pale. Her hand reached for Ethan's, but he pulled away. The room buzzed with whispers. Then came the final clip, a voice recording. Ethan's voice, clear as day. "She'll never know. I'll use the money for the ring, and once Lily and I are official, it won't matter. She'll move on." The recording ended with laughter. Ethan's laughter. A single gasp echoed from Lily. Her bouquet fell to the floor. She looked at him in disbelief, her lips trembling. "You used her money? For this?" Ethan's voice broke. "Lily, I can explain—" "No," I interrupted, stepping closer. "You can't. You see, you both took from me. My love, my trust, my dignity. I just came to return the favor. I turned to the crowd. You all came to witness a union built on love. Instead, you just saw a contract built on deceit. Lily's mother-in-law-to-be rose angrily from her seat. This is a disgrace, I smiled coldly. Yes, it is. Ethan's face twisted with panic. Ava, stop. You've made your point. I shook my head. Not yet. You made me invisible. Today, I wanted you to see me. Not as the woman you left behind, but as the woman who finally stopped crying for you. The priest cleared his throat awkwardly, but the crowd's murmurs drowned him out. Cameras were already up, phones recording, eyes wide with fascination. Lily sank into a chair near the altar, tears streaking her makeup. I didn't know, she whispered. I swear I didn't know. For the first time, I looked at her. Really looked. The sister who had taken what was mine, now broken before me. Maybe part of me wanted to believe her. But then I remembered the invitation, the silence, the months of secrecy. She'd known enough to hurt me. That was all that mattered. I reached for the microphone at the podium. My voice came out steady, calm, almost serene. You see, people think revenge is about anger. It's not. It's about truth. I didn't come here to ruin a wedding. I came to free myself from it. I looked at Ethan. You said once that I wasn't exciting enough, that I was too predictable. I tilted my head. Did this surprise you? The guests laughed nervously. Some applauded softly. Others simply stared, unsure whether to pity or admire me. I walked up to Lily, bent down slightly, and whispered, He'll do the same to you. Only next time you'll be the one left standing in a black dress. Then I straightened, gave the priest a polite nod, and turned to leave. The camera flashes followed me like fireflies. As I reached the doors, I paused and looked back one last time. Ethan was kneeling, trying to calm Lily as she sobbed into her veil. The guests had begun filing out in awkward silence. The fairy tale had collapsed, right on schedule. I pushed the doors open and stepped into the daylight. For the first time in months, I felt something I hadn't felt since the day he left. Air in my lungs. Freedom. I walked to my car, every step lighter than the last. My hands shook not from fear, but from release. The ring box was still in my hand. I placed it on the car hood, looked at it one final time, and whispered, Keep it. Then I drove away. That evening, the wedding videos went viral. Clips from the church flooded social media with captions like, Bride's sister exposes groom at the altar. Some called me cruel, others called me a hero. I didn't care what they called me. All I knew was that my silence had finally ended. But revenge has echoes. It doesn't fade when the cameras turn off. 2 weeks later, a letter arrived at my apartment, handwritten, shaky, from Lily. I can't sleep, I can't eat. You destroyed everything I had, but I know I destroyed you first. I just wish we'd both chosen differently. I read it twice, folded it neatly, and placed it in my drawer. I didn't reply. Some apologies aren't meant to be answered. For days after the wedding, my phone never stopped buzzing. Messages, calls, and interview requests poured in from everywhere. Reporters, gossip channels, even talk shows. Everyone wanted to hear my side of the story, but I never answered. I didn't need the world's sympathy. My revenge wasn't a performance, it was a release. I deleted every message and turned my phone off for a week. The world had finally heard me scream, and now I just wanted silence. Still, that silence had a strange weight to it. There were moments, late at night, when the image of Lily crying at the altar replayed in my mind. The look on her face wasn't pride shattered, it was love broken. I'd been there once too. Revenge doesn't erase pain, it just changes its shape. But it did give me something else. Perspective. For the first time, I saw myself not as a victim, but as someone capable of rebuilding. A few months later, I sold my apartment and moved to a coastal town 2 hours away. It was quiet, simple, free from the stares and whispers. I found a small art studio there and started designing invitations. Ironic, I know. For weddings, birthdays, celebrations. People smiled when they saw my work, and for the first time in years, that smile didn't hurt. One morning, I got an unexpected visitor, a gentle knock on the studio door. When I looked up, Lily was standing there. She looked nothing like the woman I'd last seen. Her golden curls were gone, her skin pale, her smile timid. The glow she once had was replaced with a quiet sadness. "Ava," she said softly. I wasn't sure you'd want to see me. I folded my arms. Then why are you here? She took a deep breath. Because I need to say this to your face. You were right. I didn't speak. I thought I was in love, she continued, eyes glistening. But I wasn't. I was just jealous. You had what I couldn't find. Stability, trust, someone who loved you completely. I wanted that so badly that I didn't care who got hurt. Her voice cracked. I ruined everything between us. I don't expect forgiveness. I wanted to tell you I'm sorry. I studied her for a long moment. She looked so small, so unlike the sister who once glowed brighter than anyone in the room. Part of me wanted to tell her to leave. Another part, the one that still remembered our childhood laughter, our shared secrets, wanted to let go of the bitterness that had kept me alive for so long. I sighed. You destroyed me, Lily. You broke something I'll never get back. But you also showed me who I am when everything is taken from me. And for that, I guess I should thank you. Tears streamed down her face. I don't deserve your kindness. No, I said gently, but neither of us deserves to carry hate forever. We stood there in silence for a while, two broken sisters finally breathing the same air again. Before she left, she turned to me and said, Ethan tried to contact you. I froze. What for? He's moving out of the city, said he wanted to apologize too. Said losing both of us was the first real consequence of his life. I didn't react. The mention of his name didn't sting anymore, just felt empty, like hearing a story I'd already outgrown. Tell him, I said quietly, that I hope he finds someone he can't lie to. She nodded, gave me a faint smile, and walked away. That was the last time I saw her. Months passed, and I found myself changing in ways I didn't expect. The rage that had once defined me was gone, replaced by something calmer, resilience. I started a blog about healing from betrayal. At first, it was anonymous, just thoughts and stories typed late at night, but people found it. They connected. Messages came from women around the world, women who had been cheated, abandoned, replaced. They told me my words helped them stand again. I realized something then. My story wasn't just about revenge. It was about rediscovering power, about proving that even after being shattered, you can still choose how to rebuild yourself. One evening, I sat by the beach as the sun melted into the horizon. The waves rolled in softly, and the sky was painted in gold. I closed my eyes and thought about everything. The love I lost, the sister I forgave, the version of myself I'd finally found again. The wind carried the sound of laughter from a distance. Strangers walking along the shore, living their lives, unburdened by the ghosts of betrayal. And for the first time, I smiled. Not because I'd won, but because I'd survived. People think revenge is about getting even, but it's not. It's about closure. It's about showing the person who broke you that they didn't destroy you. When Ethan and Lily betrayed me, I thought my life was over. I thought love was something I'd never believe in again. But standing here today, I know that heartbreak wasn't the end. It was the beginning, because revenge gave me strength, but forgiveness gave me peace.